Okay, here we go. So, thank you for joining me for my first interview. I appreciate
No
it.
problem.
This is just to let women know about breast cancer awareness. I just wanted to meet with you because I was I was shocked.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, your story was like, wow. I
Hmm.
I went to the bathroom and checked myself immediately. Like, okay, let me make sure because I couldn't even remember the last time I had did a breast
Hmm.
exam check. So I'm like, oh my God, the fact that you shared it, it was awesome. So just introduce yourself, let us know what you do and, give us a little bit about your story.
Sure. So I am Ternesha, but I typically go by T. I am a blogger here in Dallas, a boy mom of two, and that keeps me pretty busy. I'm also in school full time because I'm true and passionate about this blogger life, and I want to be a journalist. So I'll be finished with school in March. So about 5 months left here, maybe. Yeah, about 5 months left. And I also work full time. I do work for a cardiology clinic right now as a receptionist. So I kind of got a lot on my plate, but it's fine because I like staying busy. So it's so crazy because I am the type of person that I do not like going to doctors. So back in 2018, I had experienced a lump. It started well, first I'll say it started out as pain. It was the beginning of 2018, maybe around April or so. And I was just like, you know what, it's fine. Didn't think nothing of it. But months later, I started feeling a lump. And I'm like, okay, this might be a little bit serious. I still put it off because I hate going to doctors. And then I was starting to get the pain like every day. So I'm like, okay, maybe this isn't normal. And I finally found a breast specialist where I was living. And so she wanted me to get some tests done. I was so afraid I had to have a mammogram, but because I'm still young, they didn't require one. So I had to have a breast ultrasound and then a biopsy. So they sampled tissue. They took a needle and sampled tissue to and
That sounds painful.
it actually wasn't because they numbed it with a needle. So and then I didn't feel anything, but I did. It was pretty cool to actually watch. They just take little snippets of tissue out and then they send it to the testing lab to test it. So it came back benign. I was fine, but she had me follow up in 6 months. So that was December of 2018, and we realized it had gotten a little bit bigger. I was not really having pain anymore, so she wasn't as worried about it. She just wanted me to keep following up every 6 months. Well, then that was in my hometown, Arkansas. Then I moved to Dallas, so life got ahead of me. I just said, forget it. I wasn't
Right.
getting it checked on.
Right.
Life is busy. So then, so that was I moved here in 2019 of last year, and so I just never did get it checked on. I was fine, no pain. Fast forward to the beginning of this year, I knew it had gotten bigger because I had felt it. And my previous doctor had told me that hormones can change it, which I did have my second son back in March. So I finally went to, I found a doctor here in Dallas and I finally went to get it checked up on. It had grew a lot. And she recommended that I get it removed because the lump that I had, because I don't have it anymore, it was considered a fibroadenoma. So it was benign, no, harmless. But she was worried that it would get bigger and it would turn into cancer. So next week they scheduled me for surgery. I was nervous. I've only had 2 surgeries in life, and I had 2 C-sections, and that was freaking me out. So I was like, you know what? I'd rather have it gone, so I'm just gonna deal with it. I had Lord, they made me do this dang on COVID. They made me do a COVID test. I like to pass out from that, but it wasn't too bad. I survived. It was the right nostril that got me. Oh Lord! But so I had to do that. Anyone that has surgery here has to do a COVID test before. So then, a few days later, actually, it was 2 days after my birthday. There I was signing in to get it's called a lumpectomy, so just getting the lump removed.
Okay.
The process was pretty smooth. My nurses were good. They gave me the medicine, knocked me out. I woke up and it was removed. She said everything was fine. I do have to go back in December just to make sure, everything is still going good. But I haven't had any issues with it. I just so glad that it was benign because, for one, my procrastinating self kept putting it off. So it could have been worse. And that is why I really do encourage women to be aware of their bodies and don't be like me. Don't wait. When you feel something, whether it's a pain or a lump, definitely get it checked out. And, if your doctor isn't listening to you, get a second opinion, because there are too many people that, they die, or, it gets so far that then you have to have chemo and all types of things and surgery. So it is very important to be aware of your body. I never thought I would have to deal with something like that.
Right.
I'm just thanking God that, everything was fine and, it was normal. But I just think about, if it had been the other way around, what would I have did? I couldn't imagine, having cancer. I know people that have, and that's just something I deal with. So yeah, just being aware, self-exams, going to the doctor regularly, all of that is super important for a woman. Super important.
I mean, what was the moment that you found out about the lump and you realized it had grew? Because you said you didn't know. Like,
yes.
Once you moved to Dallas, you were momming, you working, so you didn't think about it. So when you went back and you were like, wow, it grew. You know what I mean? Were you afraid of it becoming cancer?
Definitely. So I think I was kind of in denial, because even though I felt like it had grown, like, I can't measure from the outside. So maybe it's just all in my head. But when the doctor felt it, she was like, wow, yes, it has. It didn't make me worry. I was afraid that, even though she, scheduled me for surgery pretty quickly, I was afraid that I was going to wake up and she would have told me it was cancer or something like that. Because although, they do test and things like ultrasound and stuff, it's nothing like actually them being inside and looking at it. So that it did worry me, but I just left it in God's hands. I knew he had me, still has me. So yeah, that was pretty much it. I knew he had me.
Yeah. Does anyone in your family have the trait of breast cancer?
No. And so that was one thing that kind of made me, I guess, a little bit happy, because I'm like, maybe I really am done with it now that it's removed. I won't have any issues, because no one in my family has had any issues with breast cancer. Not that I'm aware of, none of my immediate family or anything. So she said that, the type of lump that I had, the fibroadenoma, is common in young women. So I'm thinking maybe, I know that was a surprise to me too, because at first a lot of people were asking me, well, do you consume a lot of caffeine? Because apparently that can cause lumps, but I'm not a big caffeine drinker. So I'm like, no, that wouldn't be it. But apparently it's just something that occurs. So hopefully it doesn't come back. I'm really praying that it doesn't grow. So
I mean, you've been blessed to get this far with the situation. The fact that it grew and it still was not cancer, like that is,
yes, ma'am.
That is like a blessing.
Yes,
because I mean,
you are right.
When I was watching you, and I love the fact that you were just open with it, and you're like, "Hey, I'm going to surgery. This is what I'm going to surgery for." And I'm watching, and I'm like, "I wonder, do I have a lump?" Like,
I know
it woke me up. It woke me up immediately, because not that I don't know about breast cancer, because I do know certain things. I don't know anyone personally who's ever had it, but I've seen people journeys, through social media, but I've never like sat back and was like, oh, let me check. Like, it's very rare that I do my checks. And I was like, what, I'm getting older. I should do better about that. Like, I'm a mother now. It's not like before, when you don't have kids, you kind of like
carefree.
You don't pay that no attention. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to learn. I went and Googled and retaught myself how to do it, because I know that when you have a child, like, your breast size tends to change. So like for me, I went up. I was already a decent size, and I would have been further. So I'm like, I really need to do these exams, because you never know. Just because I don't know anyone and no one in my family has it, it could happen to me.
You are right. I kept thinking, because no one is my family. So I think that's why I kept putting it off. Never in my head. And I was like, it was anything serious. I was like, whatever, it'll be fine. But it was really the pain that was getting to me. Some days it would hurt so bad. It would wake me up in the night. sometimes during the day, and I'm like, okay, maybe this isn't normal, and I do need to get it checked out.
Was it like a stinging pain?
It was just like a sharp pain.
Ooh.
I really can't even describe it. Sometimes it would be mild, and sometimes it would be just from a 1 to 10. It would probably be a 10. It randomly occur, and it would last for a few minutes, and then it'll go away. Sometimes it was a few times a day. So I'm like, yeah, this is not normal. But when you don't have family or close friends that have experienced it, you just kind of think it's nothing. And that's the problem. We should still do regular checks and things like that. Because before then, sounds so bad, I probably hardly ever check myself like that, because you just never, you forget about it, I guess.
You do.
But it is definitely important. So now I'm always just thinking, what if a girl back, or do I need to be checking? And I always check because it was on my right side, I always check the left side to make sure nothing's going over there.
Right.
It has really opened my eyes all the way. So yes, it's important.
I mean, it's one of those things to where, like you said, you don't think about it, but that's just runs in our culture, period.
Yes.
We don't think about blood pressure, cholesterol. We don't think about any of that. I feel fine. And
you're right.
It's not about that. It's more so about going to the doctor and having yourself checked. So like I said, just watching you go through that, and I'm like, I wouldn't have been able to share that. Like, I would have been sitting there, like, I would have been scared and crying, talking about where my grandma at. It went
I understand. Since becoming a blogger, I have just like stepped all the way out of my comfort zone, because I'm a very private person, very quiet person. And I really don't share things, but I'm like, you know what? This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Everyone should be aware. So why not share my story? Because I probably would have never told anyone that, well, besides my, friends and family that know, but I probably would have never shared it. But it is very important, because I would hate for, something to happen to someone else that I know, or on social media and stuff like that. Even working in the cardiology clinic that I work in, I notice women wait until the last minute. They don't really, do prevention type things. They wait until after the fact, and you have to get it corrected. So it's important to, even if you not feel fine or not having any symptoms, just to get regular checkups, just to make sure you're still fine. So yeah, we put off so many things that we really shouldn't. So yeah.
Absolutely. I feel like the biggest thing about it is the fact that even though you didn't have it, you still put it out there like, hey, mine was benign, but yours could not be.
That is correct.
You made a post, I think it was last week, and I read the whole thing. It was like, girl, you be giving me life. So I'll be reading.
I tried
everything. Because I was like, that's why I subscribed to your blog page and everything. It was like, once we became friends on there, I was like, wow, everything I say or think, it's like we think the same. We kind of write the same and things like that. So I was like, I'm so impressed. And then when I seen you getting surgery, I'm like, wait, what happened? Like,
I know.
Backstory. I was shocked. Yes. But I was also like, man, that takes a lot of bravery to be able to do that. Because I know if I was going through something like that, I would have been super, super scared.
I would not lie. Like I said, that was my third surgery in life. So I was very scared. But you know what? I said, if I don't do this, then what if it could turn into something else? So it was important to get it removed, because I can always think, what if? And I contemplated whether I was going to share it, just because I'm like, well, mine was benign. It's not like I got cancer. I don't want to make a big deal out of it, since it was benign and there are people out here really with cancer. Yeah. So I didn't know if I should share it, but I'm like, you know what? It's still worth sharing, because you never know who you can help. So that's why I decided to share.
Now, do you notice a size difference now that you've had the surgery?
No, it feels weird now that it's gone, because I've had it for so long. At first, when I first had surgery, it was kind of swollen. So there was a big difference. I was like, hey, I can get used to this. After having 2 kids that I had to breast pump for, I was like, yeah, okay, it looks like I got a breast lift. But after the healing and all that, it just went back to the normal. But yeah, it was different at first. Yeah. But it just felt good to have removed, because I'm so used to feeling it, and it literally feels like a big marble was in there. It always felt weird. And so to have it gone, it's weird because I've been so used to it all this time. But I'm glad it's gone though.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I just, like I said before, it's something that we don't think about. And now seeing that, and actually even now hearing all of your story, it's like you want to stay on top of that. You want to make sure you're doing the right thing. And that's one of the main reasons that I wanted to do this interview, because for all women to know that whether you feel anything or you don't feel anything, just constantly check yourself, make sure you're okay, especially if it runs in your family. Like, I know a lot of times that I do see it. It's like, oh, my mom had it or my aunt had it, and then I got it. You know what I mean? So it's one of those generational things that, of course, you don't want. But if you know someone that close, like mom, aunt, cousin, you should definitely be checking. I feel like
Absolutely, you are right. Yes,
it's one of those things that's and especially
it's serious.
Being a mom, period, your health is important. So I think that's something that I'm really learning.
You are right, because I mean, if something happens to you, it's like, well, what happens to my kids? So that is important to me as well. You are right. It's not only about you anymore, it's about your children and where they go. Lord forbid if something happens. So you are right. It's not all about you.
So being just a little off the topic and more so about your blogging, like what is the best thing that you love about doing that? Like what keeps you happy about being a blogger?
I really think it's so many things, but mainly it's because you get to connect with other people. I've learned, at first when I started this blog, mainly when I started my Instagram, I guess, blogging account, I didn't really think that I would gain relationships with people. I mean, it's all about, who has the most followers and stuff like that. So I just figured, you follow people, they follow you back. That's just pretty much it. But I didn't actually realize that I would make connections with people. So that's what I love the most, seeing other people's story and just being able to talk and, share memories and things like that. So that's the main important thing to me.
I feel the same way. I feel like that this blog, it's hard.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Thank you, baby.
You are right.
It has its days to where I'm like, really? And only because you have to put yourself out there. So you have to create content that not only captures people, but you have to talk about you. So sometimes, like, am I sharing enough? Or do I want to share that part? And I have to remember, like, you have to always be honest, because that one time you told that story may help that one person out of millions. So, I mean, that's another thing I like about your blog. The stuff that you write is so everyday. It's like for a mom, for somebody who's going through life, still trying to figure this out.
Yes. That, because I'm still trying to figure it out. So my whole thing is any experience that I can share to help someone else, that's what I'm all about. I don't have it all together, probably never will, and that's okay with me. But as long as I can share my stories with other people, then that's fine with me. Like I said, I'm a very private person, but I always have loved writing. So I was like, you know what, blogging is something I think I can really do, and it will make me be more confident and open up to other people, because so many other people share their lives, and think that I have went through a lot of things in life that I should share mine. At one point I was like, you know what, I'm gonna write a book, but you know what, I'm not really gonna do that. I'm gonna just be a blogger and I can share that way. So I just feel like it's just very important to just be open with people, because it's hard being open. So if people are open with me, I can return the favor and be the same way, but you just never know who you're helping. So
that's true. Well, I appreciate definitely appreciate you doing this for me. I mean,
No problem. I enjoyed it.
thank you so much. It was
Mhm.
fun. It really, really
Mhm.
was fun. And
Yes.
it feels great to actually meet you.
I
And
know.
not
So yes.
because we've been
Mhm.
messaging back and forth and commenting
Yes.
and everything. So it's just
Mhm.
nice to see you in person. And I'm glad
Mhm.
that you're better. I'm glad that it was nothing,
Me
that it
too.
was
Thank you.
just, I don't know what that journey meant. And it might have been for you just to help others. Who knows?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? You might have went through that for that reason, but
Mhm.
I'm just glad to see you healthy, and I'm glad that everything
Mhm.
worked out with your surgery, and
Mhm.
keep up the good work. I mean, I love your blog. I don't know about anybody else, but
Well, thank you so much.
I don't subscribe to many blogs. I'm like, yeah, no,
Mhm.
that's not for me. But yours,
Okay.
I actually take out the time to read, which is not much time. I'm mom.
Mhm.
You don't have no time.
You are so right. Yes,
You don't
ma'am.
have no
All
time.
right.
So it's like I actually take out the time, whether it's at night or early in the morning. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, let me read it, and I love that it's short. It's
Mm.
not very
That
long.
is my main thing.
It's
I
to the
do
point.
not want to bore people.
Yes.
Lord, I've read some blogs where I'm just scrolling. And I said, if I ever do this, I'm not about to make a whole book. So I try to always, and I worried at first if it was a good idea to make them short, but I'm like, people don't have so much time in a day. So
No.
I don't have time to be writing all that, and neither do you
Yeah.
to read all of that. So yes, I try
It's
to keep it
worth
short
it.
and simple.
It's
Yes,
worth
ma'am.
it. Please let us know all your social media platforms that
Yes,
we can
ma'am.
reach you on.
Okay, great. I surely will. And you keep up the good work also with
Oh,
your
girl.
YouTube. I have heard YouTube is hard teeth, that it is a lot of work. So I commend every YouTuber on y'all do it. Keep up the good work because I couldn't do it. I thought about a YouTube, but no, man, too much work for me. So,
Listen, it is the promotion. It's
mm-hmm,
not the videos.
uh-huh,
Like you could come up with some decent content,
mm-hmm,
but it's the getting people to go to the actual YouTube
yes,
and watch it. Right?
mm-hmm,
Benefit me by going to you. I understand you're watching the IG, but it's not
mm-hmm,
really helping me. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
Like go to YouTube and watch it, and then that'll help me get. But it's girl, we'll be on this forever. If I start watching my YouTube,
I understand.
and it's like I tell my fiance all the time, I'm like, I want to quit, and he
No,
won't let
don't
me.
quit.
He won't let
No,
me. He be like, no,
no,
we gonna figure out something else. And I'm like, I really just want to quit. I just want
do
to write my
not.
book. I have moments like that where I'm like, I just want to be a writer. I'm done.
I
That's
completely understand. But if you were to quit, then you're gonna kick yourself in the butt about it because a lot of people have been where you are. So just imagine when you get down the line, you have all your views and your subscribers, you look back on this moment like, I needed that. So I definitely understand. Some days I'm like, you know what, this is just too much work. I already got a lot going on. I just can't do it today. But every day that you decide to, push through, it'll be a good day.
I mean,
So you definitely got to keep going.
I'm going to. But
Mm-hmm.
people hearing that from you
Mm-hmm.
means everything. It's like though that's what keeps me going.
Mm-hmm.
Those
Mm-hmm.
small comments I do get along the way, it's like, okay, oh, you're actually watching. I guess I'll make
Mm-hmm.
another one.
You
Okay.
gotta keep going. I feel that when I tell you now, I may have my blog and Instagram going, but this blog, my actual website, it is literally hard to get people to go from social media to your actual platform, like YouTube.
Yes.
It's hard to get people to my blog. I won't lie. I'm like, you know what? Why don't I just keep doing Instagram and forget my actual blog? But I love writing, so that's why I continue to do it. But it's hard. I agree. It is hard to get people to, drive traffic to what you're trying to, get them to. But I understand. But you just gotta keep going.
Yeah. And you know what I'll do? I will message you. Well, you message me when
Mm-hmm.
you get a chance
Yeah.
and just send
Okay.
me all your social media outlets and I'll
Okay.
put it in the description. But thank you so
No
much.
problem
Like
at all. No
I'm
problem.
hoping that this video reaches whoever it needs to reach.
Mm-hmm.
So we
Yes.
can help everybody be aware and understand the
Mm-hmm.
importance of health, period. I won't
Mm-hmm.
just say breast cancer, I'll just say health overall
You
because
are right. Yes.
I want everybody to be healthy. And
Yes.
hopefully we can do this again. Just
Of course.
on
You just
any
let me know.
topic. Just at random.
Yes.
Thank you so much and I
No
appreciate it.
problem. No problem. You have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.